the mission of Real Brothers Live, and because of that, I can anchor that piece, that one piece that I think we always need to push as a part of, the message.
Okay,
all
cool.
Right. Perfect,
all right,
perfect.
brothers. We're on live now. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Real Brothers Live, Real Brothers for the Real World. And we want to welcome you, everybody, to our digital neighborhood.
Welcome to the hood.
I'm TL. That's my man Stace.
Yeah.
And that's our brother Guy.
Yo.
And we got some good topics for y'all tonight. And Stace, matter of fact, go ahead and tell us what those topics. Oh, first thing I got to do before we get started. Our real brother just passed away, Craig Langston,
Right.
and I just want to say, our condolences to his family, his wife Stephanie, and his daughter, and rest in strength, because he was a real brother.
Yeah, we lost a couple this year, man.
We lost a good dude, man.
You know what, Nike, and I want to also take this opportunity to say that, as we said before, man, life is short, man. Life is short, precious, and fragile, and is not guaranteed. So, we have to find. We gotta breathe it in. You gotta breathe it in. We can't wait to try to enjoy it as much as possible, because you never know when you're going to be gone. You could be here today, going tomorrow, man. So try to enjoy it. Try to enjoy it. All right, God, welcome, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. Listen, just to bounce off what you said, like anybody that knows me, when I talk to you, the first thing that comes out my mouth, and when you ask me a question, and y'all could probably relate to or attest to it, the first thing out my mouth is, and somebody say, "How you doing, man?" I'm doing great. I woke up this morning. I got another opportunity to be great. So, you're right. We do got to take every day and look at it in a way that, we can get the most out of it, be as productive as we can be, whether productivity is laying down, chilling, or, getting your mind right or whatever, or it's running out and about doing, all the necessary things that we got to do as hustlers and folks that got to get busy every day. So I'm with you on that 100%. So I just wanted to share that little piece. I'm doing good today, man. I'm doing great. Again today, I woke up this morning, man, with another opportunity to be great. So I'm here. I'm thankful to be here, man. What's up, family? How y'all making out?
All right. So Nike put the link out there. So we hope that you will click on the link and join us today. We got a couple good topics, so we're going to read them now. We got, can our communities police ourselves? Who's responsible for Chaundra Jones's death? And on that one, that's not specifically talking about the person that pulled the trigger, but how did we get to this point? It's more along the lines of that. Then we have R. Kelly. What I wanted to say is, R. Kelly, are you still listening? And then we have food stores in our community. All right, so Terry, guys,
yes, sir.
The other time, man, you're no longer the new one. So we're gonna go to Terry.
The novelty done wore off.
The novelty wore off. So we're gonna go to Terry.
All right. Well, before we get started with our topics, man, I got a little random something for you. And I know, this might sound a little crazy, but it's something that I was thinking of actually last night.
You were thinking about?
No, it wasn't. Well, you know how I'm a little off anyway, but yeah. So I was just thinking about this, and let this sink into you for a minute. Mm-hmm. Listen to this. What if the roles were reversed? You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, what would happen if all of a sudden real brothers all over the planet were to unite under one umbrella, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one day our brothers decided to take a trip, and damn, look what they find. They discover America. Right? Then, since they discovered it, they come in and name it. They call it what they want to call it.
Right.
And then they call it theirs.
Mm-hmm.
With the people that's already living here, what in this newly, quote fingers, discovered land, would they give up their land peacefully?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone would. I don't think that, it didn't happen. Well, to answer your question, no. No. Nobody's going to give up their land peacefully. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that you taking something from somebody. You're always talking about war.
Right. So what I'm saying is like, how do people think that it was okay for somebody to come to another country, take the land, then bring people from other countries there to build that land, and then still call it yours and still profit from everything that's in it? That's happening here. That's happening in Africa. That's happening in Europe. That's happening all over. You know what I'm saying? So why do we as Black people stay so separated and let this happen?
You got something for that guy?
I don't know. I don't know if I can say we let that happen. I don't think any person would willingly allow themselves to become enslaved. So it was by force.
By force.
Let's hit that nail with the right hammer. That was by force.
Taken.
That wasn't something where we said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead over here and let these people subjugate me for a while.
Right.
So there were some techniques used that to manipulate people that Black folks in that country and on that continent and several countries weren't necessarily accustomed to, because that ain't the way we did business. Go ahead. With guns, and that's something that was also foreign to a lot of those countries. And technology, some technology that was foreign to those folks that wasn't necessary there. They was living a happy life. So what'd you say? If the roles were reversed, it would still be a awful tragedy in humanity, right? It would still be one of our worst.
It would be, but would it be looked upon the same way? Because they don't look upon it as a tragedy.
See,
you get what I'm saying? Like history is like they get a pass.
No, history is written by the victors. So the fact that they took that land, they were able to say that, they were able to, wash it out and say that it wasn't taken by force and tell a different story. You know what I mean? So had Black and brown people done the same thing, the story probably would have been the same. But I want to go back to something that Guy said. I think that normally, I don't know where this comes from, but it seemed like, Black folks specifically we seem to be more humanistic, I guess is the term I'm looking for. Whereas the goal is not to conquer. The goal is not to conquer. Even though, as I say that, though, I'm struggling because I'm sure that happened in Africa. I'm sure that you had tribes that went to other tribes and conquered and did the same thing. But, I just don't know if we were to come upon a new land, maybe it would have been more, let's coexist versus stomp out what you're doing and replace you with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think maybe that would have been the difference.
Yeah, because I think over, in a lot of continents, a lot of countries in Africa, they engaged in, warfare, and they took the captives, and men became slaves, women became concubines or whatever, and, whatever. But slavery wasn't the same. It wasn't the same institution. It wasn't that brutal, horrific institution of rape and torture and murder and, experimentation and just terror and horror on people. It was okay, you're going to work here. This is what you're going to do. You're going to make sure you eat. Matter of fact, you might even be able to live with your family, and we're not going to separate you. It wasn't the same institution as what America did.
That's
what wasn't the same.
It was built into the systems. It was built into the system. We say what, Knight?
What wasn't the same institution?
Well, you posed the question of whether or not folks, if other folks had done the same. Other folks have done the same, right? It was
not at this level.
Right. Well,
it's been at this level. People have owned slaves in Europe. People have owned slaves in Spain.
What Guy is saying, talking about the way that it was built into the systems, though. It never was
different. It was generational. It was like you're my property, and all of your offspring and their offspring will be my property.
Here's the documentation,
In other systems of slavery, it wasn't necessarily slavery that looked like that. It wasn't generational. It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
In the countries in Africa, I don't know if it was necessarily generational to the degree that it was here. like you had to pay off a debt, and your debt may have been attached to the labor that you had to provide to pay off that debt. And if it took, you and your son, or if you had to sell your son or whatever, those were different times. But it wasn't the brutality and what we experienced here in America over generations. That was just brutality. That was even, that was just strictly brutality, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not, I don't have a list of countries and what happened in each one, but I think we understand the concept. Here in America, it was just totally brutal, and it was based on race. And those other places, it wasn't necessarily based on race. It may have been based in faith. It may have been based in something else.
And they have a problem, like they have a problem admitting that or teaching that, like the actual history that happened.
You know what? Now, somebody came on the radio the other day, and what she said was profound, and I think it made a lot of sense. She said, instead of talking about that institution or this country's brutal history, instead of pushing it to the side and looking at it as a scar forever, if anything, embrace it, and that becomes a part of the character, because you could say, look at what we came from and look at what we strive to be now. You know what I mean? So, in other words, don't deny it, because first of all, it's history, so you can't deny it. But also embrace it and teach it. And that makes the country look even greater. Look at the brutal things that we did years ago, and look at the things that we're trying to do now, or what we strive to be now. You know what I mean? Embrace it.
You know what? I agree with you. And what I say, just to go a little bit further, I think that with America has an opportunity, and has had an opportunity for generations to actually really be the moral compass of the world, because of slavery and the brutality that was attached to it, and the racism that continues because of it, right? And the reason I say America has an opportunity to really be, a beacon of morality is because at any moment in time, America can, number one, reflect on because of it, right? What it committed, right? And then number two, repair that. Right? Condemn it for being wrong, and then work to repair it. Once, if we ever get an elected official in office, a president that denounces, first acknowledges that it happened, second acknowledges that it continues to happen, and then third takes steps to repair the harm and the damage that it caused, I think you will probably have the greatest president in American history. And I think you will become, at that point, probably, one of the most moral countries on the planet. But as it stands right now, we live, in a country where it's like, we got to play, that whole we got to hide it game. So that's just my take on that.
My problem with that though, Guy, is like, that's a pipe dream. Because
I think. Well,
let me finish. Like, so if that were going to happen, in all of these hundreds of years, it would have happened already.
I disagree with that, Nike, because I think that
the powers that be, and I call them the 1%, they're not going to relinquish their power just like that. They're not going to say, "Oh, okay, well, let them hire this, let them vote in this president or whoever that's going to, what? Go ahead."
Like, I disagree with that, because that's to not acknowledge the strides and the progress that we have made. I mean, think about where we were and think about where we are. Now, that's not to say we don't have a long way to go, but I don't think that anybody would say that things are as bad now as they were when we were enslaved. You know what I mean? So
a lot of the changes that they've given us is just to pacify. It's just to pacify us. If they wanted to make substantial change, if they wanted to have equality, if they wanted to have equity, then we would have it. It's either you give it to us or you don't. It's not they're going to spoon feed pieces and pieces and pieces. I want the same. Rights.
See, but again, but think about what you just said though. They're going to spoon feed pieces and pieces and pieces. So really, what you're saying then, if I can try to give this a shot, you're not saying that it's not happened slowly. You're saying that it's just not happened fast enough, because using your example with spoon feed, that means that we're progressing slowly.
It's not a,
and that's my point.
That's the thing.
So,
It's not about progressing.
Let me ask.
Like we should automatically have.
No,
huh?
No, not saying that we shouldn't. No, hear me out. Not saying that we shouldn't, Nike, but nothing happens overnight. And what the part that I'm disagreeing with you with is when you say that if it was going to happen, it would have happened already, because that implies that the door has been shut and it's not going to happen. And what I'm saying is that I believe that we're constantly inching closer to it. I mean, think about it. I tend to believe that where we are now and what we're experiencing in this age here are the last vestiges of these folk trying to hold on to power. I think that's why they're fighting so hard. But as this country browns and gets browner, which we all know that it is, we can see change. No, am I wrong? There hasn't been change.
Let me just go back to what I was saying before y'all run with what I didn't say was that I expect it to happen or I think it will happen. What I said was America has the potential. Until that happens, they will have that potential. And I can't see it happening just like you, TL, but I'm just saying America does have that potential.
Right.
Because of that atrocity, because of that,
we know
that peculiar institution of slavery, America has the potential to actually flip that and be, the great nation that it has laid claim to be over generations. So that's what I was saying. I didn't say I expect the next president or the one after that or whoever to do that. What I'm saying is that would be something that would demonstrate that America is truly great.
All right, now let me read what Princess Clark says. Princess Clark said, the unfortunate thing is there not enough time in a school day to teach this. Our parents need to also have these conversations at home. I agree, but I'll go back, Princess, to what Terry said, though. You might not have enough hours in the day to run through the whole history of cover the whole thing, but you spoon feed it. We learn in bits and pieces, not the whole lesson at one time. Yo, Nike, that's a good random, dog.
Right? No, that's. But what I'm saying is, it's not like we shouldn't be like we're under the illusion that us being spoon fed our own rights and our own liberties is okay. That shit ain't okay.
Well, no,
right now today. I should have the same equity. I should have the same equality. I shouldn't have to worry about when I see a cop out in the street.
Let me ask you this tonight. Let me ask you this then. The question then is, do you see any improvement though? Put it that way. Do you see any improvement?
No, we're living in the 60s over again.
What?
How?
Wait a minute. You don't see. Wait a minute.
We're living in the 60s all over again. Look, all right, Vietnam, Afghanistan. I want to make some comparisons for you. Vietnam, Afghanistan, right?
What do you mean? I don't understand that.
I'm talking about the era.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Right. A horrible president, Nixon, and then it was Nixon, and then you got Trump.
Well, okay, but they've already been. But Trump.
Same thing.
No. But let me address that. No. Right. I disagree with that. Trump, we already beat him, right? He was a one-term president. Yeah, this is why you mentioned a horrible president. You said Nixon and Trump. Trump was a one-term president. He had a shot, and we put him out, right?
Right. And Nixon was a 1.5-term president, and they both had those wars that we lost.
So using
that's
it
why
as
I'm
an
comparing
example,
the same thing. The economy was similar.
But this is my question, though. Using it as an example, though, was that an improvement to go from Trump to Biden? Was that an improvement?
Depends on who you ask. Like, it was an improvement on Trump.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Okay. Like, so it was an improvement on Trump. But so it's not like he's Abe Lincoln. He didn't set the black people free.
No one said that. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about perfection. We're using your example. We're talking about making improvements. Let me give y'all this. Then we're gonna go to maybe we shouldn't do my random. In California, there was a family that owned a beachfront property. They call it Bruce's something. I forget the term. the governor, it's a black family. It become a big tourist spot for black people. The Klan got involved like in 1912, and they took the property for using eminent domain. The governor, listen. The governor just signed a bill to return that property, that beachfront property, to the rightful owners, the rightful family, and their heirs. They just got the property back. My point is improvement. Did everybody get their property back? No. But that's better than them saying, listen though, but that's better than them saying that was years ago, you get nothing. That's my point. There's nothing wrong with improvement. That's all I'm saying.
You consider that improvement?
Yes. Go ahead, Guy.
The commenter, she wrote, our parents need to have these conversations at home. I think that leads into Chaundra Jones. And I think part of the issue with anything so atrocious that can happen to one of our beautiful black women is because there's somebody that's not having conversations with the shooters. There's somebody that's not having conversations with the folks who are around the shooters, and they not having conversations with each other about, what we need to expect from each other. And I think that's a conversation that we need to have. I think those are tough conversations that we need to have.
What do you mean? Well, you know what though, Dyke put the topic up there that we
might as well transition to that.
I was going to say that. Guy transitioned into one of the other topics, which was who's responsible for Chaundra Jones's death. And again, we're not talking about the person that pulled the trigger who's actually responsible. What we're talking about, and I think Guy's touching on, how do we get to this place? So, Guy, do you want to elaborate on what you meant by that?
Yeah, what I meant was like times are changing, and when I was growing up, there were while there were murders, right, throughout history, right, there's going to be murders, but it wasn't. You didn't find so many babies being murdered. You didn't see so many young women being murdered. You didn't find so many women being murdered. I mean, that's not to say that the male life should be valued any less, or more. But I think there were, I know there were strict lines that you didn't cross when it came to that. And our community was one that would jump in and intercede, like if something like that happened, and make an example to let folks know this isn't what we're about, and this is not what we're going to tolerate. So, that's my thinking on that. And when I say, who's ultimately responsible for that, I think, those young people are responsible. The people who, I don't know if they're young or old. I'm assuming they're young because those were young folks, young women that were victims of that crime, or the other two who survived the crime. But how do we get here? I think we got here because we, lack of these kinds of conversations with people.
Yeah. Wow, somebody spamming the joint. You see it? Wow.
Spamming.
Yeah, you see it? Look, read the comments. That's terrible. See, people don't have anything else better to talk about. This spam, but we just won't put it on the screen. Crazy. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that don't affect the show at all.
Right, at all. But you know what though? But God, I think it's when we talk about how did we get to this point, it's the recklessness. Now, don't get me wrong. Remember when in the early 90s, that's what happened. That's when actually the community stood up and they said you have to do something because you had so many stray innocent victims being killed and stray bullets and things like that because people started getting reckless. So, but it's like now it's it's on steroids. People don't care. It's like they just don't care about anything. Someone said that it's almost as if we're not teaching our youth about the value of life. You know what I mean?
Right.
How did people just get so uncaring? I guess that's a question. How do we get here though?
One thing, and this topic kind of affects me on another level. Like, is really personal because I lost a son to the same thing. You know what I mean? My son was shot in front of his door, in broad daylight. You know what I mean? And lost his life. So my thing is, everybody knows who did it.
Right.
Everybody knows who did it. but nobody won't say nothing. You know what I mean?
Now, okay, now
that's frustrating.
interesting.
That's frustrating. Like,
see, but now, okay, but listen to this, though, Nike, and I know that we laughed about this. This goes to that whole the whole telling and call it, and actually, that was gonna be one of. I had two thoughts as far as randoms, and that was gonna be one of. But since you brought it up, that will be the question: should someone call the cops if they know who did this? Should they call the cops?
Yeah, they should call the cops.
What do you think,
or they should, if not call the cops, they should tell the family, let the family deal with it.
See,
you know what I mean? Let the family call the cops.
What do you think, guy? If someone knew who did this, should they call the cops and let them know who caused this tragedy?
Well, I gotta say a couple different things. Well, on the one hand, I guess I'm almost obligated to say that you should call law enforcement if you know that something. But the last thing I'm going to do is call law enforcement.
Right.
That's a tough one there, man.
But doesn't that go to what Terry
I think what needs to happen is the community does need to have some system of its own in place to police itself. And I know we're going to get into this a little bit later, but I think it ties into that.
See, but doesn't that go back to what Terry just said, though? I mean, if you know what, okay, and I'm gonna just bring it home. I mean, Terry, would you have liked the person that know who did that to your son? If that person wasn't caught, wouldn't you have wanted someone to call the cops? I mean, we have to make it personal.
To tell me.
I mean, I understand that, but
community self-policing I was just talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can police our own communities.
No,
that's what we need to actually start doing. We need to.
No, we don't want that.
That's another.
We don't want that.
Another one of our topics for today.
So we're gonna.
You know what? Stacey want the cops around all the.
I know. He about to call the cops right now.
We can't even talk about it.
You know what's funny?
Hey, guy, he about to call the cops right now.
Yeah, like, can we at least talk about it, brother?
Terry's in North Carolina. Terry's in North Carolina. Guys in Philly, go get him. No, but listen, I mean, because I think the problem is that somehow the thought behind not snitching, and I understand why, Guy, your position is not calling the cops. I understand what you're saying because you think your position is that when they come with too much and they overdo it. I get that.
And another thing is the cops don't care. The cops don't care, man. You think the cops give a shit about my son being in the ground?
No, see, but you know what?
They don't care.
Okay, you know what? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't.
I've been through this. They don't care.
All right,
okay, go ahead.
Let's hold up. Chill for a second. Here's a number for you, right? In the city of Philadelphia, less than 30% of all homicides are solved. Less than 30%. So calling the cops is going to basically say, I got a 70% chance that they're not going to find out who did it anyway.
Right.
So
but if well, and as I always say, I always tell people, you have to be your best advocate. If I know that someone did something and I'm calling and I let them know, it's not going to end there. I'm going to go down. I'm going to say, look, this is the proof that you need. This person did that. Something has to happen. I think that's the problem. And Terry, see, now I think your position is shifting because in the beginning you said everyone knows who did it. Then you said that, right?
Right.
So maybe let me scratch that. Someone knows who did it. What should they do? If they know who did it, no. We're talking about this situation with the young lady. The person that knows who did it, what should they do?
They should tell the family. And then the family should have the option. If they want to call the cops, they call the cops. If they want to take care of it another way, if they want to, do whatever, then they have that option. But what I'm saying is people shouldn't just sit there when people are getting murdered every day, you know what I mean, for bullshit. Like when you kill when a black person kills another black person, there's no need There's no need for a black person to kill another black person. I don't give a shit what they did, unless they killed somebody in your family or and all that. I can't say because I've been through it, and I can't say, I can't sit here and tell a person, oh, you can't go and handle that, because
but the problem
I know how
is
it feels to have that happen to you.
This is why it's unfortunate. This is why it's unfortunate. Because and it goes back to what we said before. See, and this is the reason why I don't think that we could subscribe to an eye for an eye, because that's what you're talking about.
I'm not a Malcolm X. I mean, I'm not a Martin Luther King type of dude. I'm more like a Malcolm X, or like, an eye for an eye. You know what I mean? Like,
see, now look at what Princess said. The sad reality is the person who was killed was not the intended target, and that's my problem. Because what you're doing, I think, is you're forgetting about the human nature aspect of it. Now, let's just play it out and extrapolate on it. We know who did it. The person go tells them Larry did it. Go tells the family. The family go kills Larry. So what does Larry family do? Larry's family.
Larry shouldn't have killed that girl.
No. What? Okay, guy, I'm coming to you. We tell everybody that Larry did it. We tell the family that Larry did it. The family go kills Larry. What does Larry's family and friends do?
They probably want to kill somebody too.
So and then that person. So when does it end? That's what I'm saying. I mean, we can't forget about the human nature aspect of it. And once you start down that path, there's no ending. There's no ending. You're talking about the Wild Wild West.
And I agree with you. And I'm gonna tell you why. Me not doing what y'all know that I would.
Absolutely. That's right. You broke the chain.
That was the hardest. That was the hardest thing that I ever did not do.
Absolutely. You said that in the podcast with Guy, and you're right, because I mean, and I remember that night.
It took more strength for me not to do something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's because I'm trying to be.
Consequences
different.
Has to be that the consequences for this type of tragedy has to be these things aren't going to happen in the dark. If you commit these kind of crimes in the dark, and as you say, Nike, people know who did it, somebody's going to mention it, and then somebody's going to let the proper people know who did it, and they're going to be knocking on your door. That's what will slow things down. The reason why this stuff continues to happen is because they know that Black lives don't matter, because nobody's going to say anything. Like you said, people know who did it. That they're going to say, you know what, that happened. That's the code in the street. No one says
another thing that I want to touch on that you just said. That where are our leaders today, right? So the only time we hear from our leaders is when there's a tragedy, right? Not a tragedy like this girl getting killed. We ain't heard nothing about that. Where's Al now? Where's the rest of these people, these leaders, right? You don't hear you don't hear nothing from them now. But if a cop was to kill that girl, then it would be outrage in the street. Well, where's that same outrage? Where's that same? I
disagree with that. Now,
I see the outrage.
Now, you know what? I disagree with that, because
it's got, at least locally, there's been some attention played to it. I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
Maybe it might be where you are.
I'm talking about as far as our leaders are concerned. That's what I'm talking about. We don't have
any leaders, bro. We don't have any.
I'm talking about like Al Sharpton. What's the other dude?
Who they leading? Who they leading?
They just marching and protesting. And guess what?
Don't
nobody care. Don't nobody care about them marching and protesting.
Okay. As
we
talked
doing
about
that for years. They've been doing that since the 50s.
See, but Nike, to say that they're not trying to do something about gun violence is not true. You don't see them trying to have gun buybacks and remove guns from the street. Have you seen those things happen?
Yeah. Did it work?
Okay. It removed. They collected 100 guns. That's 100 guns that would have been out on the street that are now not on the street. Do we need 100
guns? Shit, I got 100 guns.
But the fact still remains, though. I mean, well, as I said before, I'm a believer in increment. You got to help me, Guy. Incrementalism. Incrementalism. No, man, I mean, nothing happens overnight, and unless, well, what y'all talking about, you either one extreme, you talk about the wild, wild west, where it's wherever goes, or the next, or the other extreme is that you have people that can knock on your door, Brody, into your house and forcefully remove the guns from your house. And we don't want either. So, it has to happen. It has to happen the right way. It has to happen the right way.
To our next topic, man. So, can we police ourselves?
Now, just real quick, Lynette said that she agreed it's a vicious cycle, and I hope and think that she's agreeing with me that if you don't, if you allow people to just run buck wild, it won't end. But all right, Nike. All right, Guy, you want to address that? Can our communities say it again?
Can we police our own community policing, or self community policing, community self policing? Right. I think we should. I think it's necessary. Listen, I'm all for defunding the police. I don't think we need a police force. I think we need more responsible, credible community leaders stepping up in our communities. I think if we employ some of the things that other communities have, like maybe even like a community mediator, community dispute mediators, that we can maybe, those folks in the community who actually are stakeholders in our community, those people who have an investment in our community, they could act as mediators in, some of the things that we do, like rather than a 911, we could develop some type of a crisis intervention line, right, that addresses maybe mental and behavioral health. Right now, there's, maybe 50% of all folks incarcerated in Pennsylvania are suffering from some mental illness. A quarter of the folks arrested, period, suffer from some mental illness. So I think some of those things, we could put some stuff in place. I'm all for community policing. I'm not for the police. So I mean, and I know you on the other side of that, Stace, and you probably can call the cops on me now, but
he got his finger on the joint right now. He like,
as soon as you say the wrong word, I'm gonna hit that last one.
Yo, Lynette said, hold up. Lynette said Black Panthers attempted this, and see what happened there. Now I don't know what she means by what happened there, but I will be interested to know. But go ahead, Knight.
Lynette, hit that link and come on and tell us what you're talking about. Hey, but what I agree with you, Guy. Definitely, we need our own. We need to be able to police our own neighborhoods, because for one,
true, they were massacred.
If you have people in our own neighborhoods, they're more familiar with their surroundings. They're not as scared. They're not as trigger happy. They scared of every little noise or every person.
So okay,
ready to pull the trigger. You know what I'm saying? So and then another thing is, they can relate to people in our community. Like, absolutely, we can relate to our people,
part of the community. Right. Now let me ask you this then. Just to make sure that I'm understanding you, when you say we don't need a police force, each community police themselves, what does that look like? How does that look? If there's a dispute, in each neighborhood has its own force. Is that what you're saying? And so it's broken down by boundaries.
No, yeah. Just like just like the police have patrols, you can have community people getting paid to have controls.
Similar
so you're talking about patrol. Town watch on steroids, right?
I think we want to pretty much some stuff we want to stay away from. Like, I don't think that's part of the problem now. Like we like you say, TL, control. I don't want the police or any force in my unit to exercise control over me.
Right.
There's no way that I can control me. I know how to handle me, and I'm pretty sure that the people around me know how to handle themselves, or they will handle themselves according to a set of rules that says.
And if it was done, right,
but if people knew how to control themselves, there wouldn't be crime and violence now, though, right? So I mean, what I think in a perfect world, we can do that. If everybody were like TL and Guy and knew how to conduct themselves accordingly, that would be one thing. But what do you do with the
What was your solution then? What would be your solution, Stace?
A lot of what we call in crime isn't crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, we say crime, we throw that word around like crime and criminal. A lot of the things that we are calling criminal or calling crimes aren't necessarily crimes.
Okay, here's the go ahead, Guy. Finish your thought.
So I'm just saying that's like victimless crimes and crimes that are committed out of financial need and all that type of shit.
That's not crimes though. So
it's crimes because it's a crime on the book because it's codified.
No. Okay, let me ask you a question, guy. You talking about a crime of need? You in your crib and you come home and somebody ran in your crib and stole your TV. Is that a crime?
That's not. Listen, I think we're going off what I'm trying to say because what I'm saying is what we're saying is self-policing. What we're saying is self-policing, right? So when you're talking about self-policing and say it's unlawful for a guy to sell Lucy's on a sidewalk, if that was not a crime at the time Eric Garner was murdered,
agreed. Right. I agree with that. See,
if
but
we
no,
police ourselves, then because those are things that are called crimes, and now we want to reduce crime. That's a crime on the book.
I get that.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that like folks are not committing crimes. Some crimes that are on the books or codified should not be
crimes, right? And it's like this petty possession of marijuana. That's not a crime.
If we had our own crisis response unit that could deal with things that are not necessarily crimes, or somebody having a mental breakdown, we're gonna call 911. You know what I mean? Because it looks like he's damaging property, but in reality, he's having a breakdown.
He's having an episode.
We need to find other ways to deal with what we may call crime, or what we need to deal with crisis situations in our community. Because that shit ain't always crime.
I got a question for you.
Hey fellas, we had Lynette just joined us to explain her.
She like she chilling. What's going on? How you doing today?
How you doing, Lynette?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey.
What's happening?
So it's a lot. It's a lot. I liked how y'all segued this topic from the last stuff.
Right along.
Yeah, it was a nice segue. So I was agreeing with you, Stacey, when I said that it would be a vicious cycle. It would be a never-ending cycle because retaliation, even when someone's in the wrong, and I've experienced that firsthand, close family and friends where someone, was shot and the other people were in the wrong. They retaliated, then they're gonna come back and retaliate. It's an ongoing war until there's nobody left standing.
If you had somebody with a strong conviction not to kill another black person, as I had, then that cycle will break.
But again, I honor you for that too.
But my point is that not everybody is Terry though. I mean, you reached you might not, your conviction now is not as strong as it was years ago though, was it?
No, I can tell you no.
That's my point.
When it actually happened, it took a lot. It took a lot.
I remember we were together.
You were down there. It took a lot.
So again, and to echo what Lynette is saying, that's the reason why we can't do that, because you don't set up laws to moderate the people that know how to conduct themselves. There's in theory are supposed to be for those outliers, and that's why.
Here's another thing, Stace. If the police were all right.
Most of the people out here aren't committing crimes. It's a small percentage, but you have to have, like I said, there has to be a way to deal with those folks.
Right. And when it comes to violent crimes, if we defunded the police, then they would have more time to actually work on those violent crimes, because they wouldn't be making traffic. Wait, let me finish. They wouldn't be making simple traffic stops. They wouldn't be harassing people on the corner with a pocket full of weed. They wouldn't be pulling people over for expired tags. They wouldn't be responding to domestic violence, or they wouldn't be.
This is my question. I understand where you're going with it. This is my question.
Can we slide back to Lynette? Lynette, did you wrap up? Was that where you was going with it? Did you have anything else?
Yeah, I did. As far as policing our own communities or what have you, there's a lot involved with that. That's a very big idea. You know what I mean? But I had made the comment that isn't that exactly what the Black Panthers were attempting to do?
Right.
From top to bottom, take care of the women and children. You know, they had the food programs and all that stuff. And I'm not going to speak too much because I'm not as educated as I should be, shamefully to say. But they look what they did. The powers that be. You know what I'm saying? Look what they did to the Black Panthers, because there's still an agenda for our people.
Right.
And they are not going to lay down and let that agenda just go to the wayside. So if we step in and police our own communities to right our own wrong, they don't want us right.
That's not going to happen to Real Brothers. I'm telling you, it's a different day, though. It's a different day.
It is a different day. We would be going to war.
Right.
We would be going to war.
Exactly.
Now listen to this. This is my question. What you say, Guy?
No, I said States. Now, what were you saying? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is my question, though. So, and I agree with the example that both of you used. The person out there selling Lucy's, the person having a psychotic episode. I'm not talking about those, but I want to go back to true crime. I'm talking about using the example that I gave you, Guy. Somebody breaking into the crib. I'm talking about murders. I'm talking about gun violence. The other day, I got out of my car in front of my place now. It's like a drag strip. Because it's a long strip, and they get up there doing like 80. I mean, actually racing, like unlawful street cars. Dude, when I got out of my car the other day,
you wearing your phone out, ain't you?
Absolutely, I did. But listen to this though. But now tell me. But listen to this though. I was on the phone. Listen, Lynette, they give me heck for calling the cops. But listen, I'm on the phone. But listen, hear my story though. I'm on the phone with the police, and I'm saying, listen.
Yo. So I'm on the phone with the police.
But listen, let me tell a story. Because I'm prepared for this.
All right, my fault.
I'm on the phone because they're drag racing down this residential street, and I'm telling them, giving them the location. The dude was doing 80, lost control of his car, jumped over the medium, and slammed head on into two other cars. Was I wrong? That's my point. That is my point. If the reason why they do it is because no one let them know that if you do that in this neighborhood, the cops are gonna come. So what do they do? They continue to do
crashing, or did you prevent them from?
No. While I was on the phone night, that call became a call to the ambulance. They had to transfer me over to the ambulance. They rushed, and while they were on the phone, the dude tried to pull up a tow truck, take his car, and leave this. Yo, is that okay though?
What?
Is that okay? That now what would have happened had I not called? He would have picked up that car. He would have ran into those two cars, and then the same way that y'all are talking about the fact that people are being killed and no one says anything. He would have left the crime because there were no police officers there. Am I right? So was that the right call to have called? That's a question for you, Guy. What?
Why you gonna lay that joint in my lap?
I need an answer. I mean, because my point is that if we allow those things to happen, this is where we are now. This is why they continue to happen. No one says anything. That's my point. That's the problem. Right. That's why we are here.
Right. All right. I'll give you that one, Stace. I'll give you that one.
Exactly.
Bad accident. You call 911, try to get an ambulance. I give you that.
No.
But what I'm saying is, if the police see people get they misunderstand. They misunderstand the phrase defund the police. That don't mean to take police away from, not have a police force. What that means is,
I was saying initially though, right? Y'all was saying get rid of the police and have town watch.
Let me finish.
He said get rid of the police and have town watch.
So it don't mean to get rid of the police altogether. What it means is
get them off of these little things like the
if you defund the police where they not responding to
I understand that mental, small, petty crime.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Or
I agree with
you. you know, maybe even domestic violence, or like somebody stole a candy bar or that kind of shit. Like,
I agree with you.
If they didn't have those responsibilities, they would have more time to investigate murders and guns and what stabbings and whatever. You get what I'm saying? They would have more time to concentrate on that, because they're not locking people up for selling cigarettes. They're not choking nobody for passing a fake bill, or they're not.
You're speaking of the non-violent crimes,
right?
Policing them on that level, but
correct.
Now, how will these crimes be punished?
That should be policed by the neighborhood. Now, that money that they take away from the police force can be used on a community force or a community, so people can actually people can actually make money.
Give us an example. Give us an example. You are part of that community police force, okay?
Right.
So you're part of that. A 17-year-old
and I'm getting paid I'm getting paid to do it because
talking about Town Watch.
Because the police, I'm getting paid and trained. Wait. I'm getting paid and trained to do it because the money that they took from the police, they are now spending that money in the neighborhood on the community police.
So you are legitimate. You are legitimate community policing. You're hired by the community to be a part of that policing. Exactly. So now that 17-year-old robs a store, non-violent, stealing, robs a store. How is that punished where he learns the lesson, he or she learns the lesson from you, from our community police? No, I'm non-violent. He stole, he got caught.
And we know he did it, right? And we know he did it.
Red-handed. What is in place in your
we go, we find them, we speak to his parents.
Thank you for joining us, babe. We appreciate it. Good to hear from you from always. All right, we're gonna pop off and answer that question.
Yeah, but I'm gonna answer the next question.
Okay.
Right. So what I say is that, once we know who stole the candy bar or whatever he stole, whatever, then we find out where he lives, or if we in the community, we will probably already know where he lives. Then we go to his parents' house. We tell him the situation. Maybe you can write an incident. And then next time, write them up. Maybe even give them, if they have the authority to give tickets or whatever. You know what I mean?
Do you get a gun night? The town now?
Wait. Do they give me a gun or am I taking a gun? Which one is it?
No. If you're the hired Town Watch, does the Town Watch have a gun? Do they have guns or no?
I don't know about the rest of them. I got mine.
See, right? You the wrong one to be in the Town Watch.
I don't know.
You the wrong nugget to be in the Town Watch. So, guy, when we talk about this Town Watch that Terry will have, is this what you see? A town when you say defund the police, you say defund the police and implement a Town Watch on steroids. Is that what you believe?
No, that's not what I believe. What I believe is, like I said, the majority of the folks who are, incarcerated or come into contact with law enforcement suffer from some mental illness. You could take 50% of the calls that go to 911, divert those calls to some mental and behavioral health crisis center or crisis line. Now you've cut the police calls in half. So just by providing the necessary resources to the community that the community should have had or that they have in other communities. So that's part. And then the next thing would be when you got, lower level nonviolent crimes like shoplifting, for instance, or the neighborhood disputes between neighbors, that type of thing, or even to some degree domestic disputes between partners and family members.
Agreed.
Then you would employ maybe a certain type of mediator to have some kind of discussion between those people. You could significantly cut the police force by providing necessary resources on education, right? You provide those resources what I was saying, God. Like, you provide those resources in any number of ways.
And I got one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got one question. And listen, now let me say this. I agree with both of y'all with what y'all saying, but then I have a question in. How do you handle the person that pulled the trigger on the young lady? How do you handle it? Do you give him a ticket?
No, well, I
How do you
think
handle
it's
that?
different.
That's a violent crime, though. The
Yeah,
police.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
You didn't answer my
Now,
question. How do you handle it?
you would handle that person the same as if you would handle a murderer today.
By
Like
doing
that
what?
person, you would first go through the entire
Just try not to
process.
say it. What you mean,
No,
guy?
you
You
would
go
go
ahead and
through
say it, guy.
No, you would go through the process.
Which
You
is
give
what?
the,
What do
if
you mean?
you find out the information and you give it to her mother or her dad, and then
What?
they can contact the police, or they can do, you know what I mean? It's
So,
their decision,
okay.
because that's their daughter.
See, Guy was trying to fight it. All right, Guy, I need you to say it. How do you handle it, Guy? The person that did that, pull that trigger, how do you do it? What do you do? You know who did it. What do you do?
Tell their parents.
You gotta I think you gotta be sensitive to both sides of the the
Hey,
victim
God,
and
you a politician
and the
already,
offender.
man.
No, I'm just saying, like, you could there's some way to find justice in those situations, and there's some way to, while you're finding justice in those situations, to include the harmed party in that justice.
Right.
And sometimes that's called restorative justice. And in restorative justice, it seeks to involve the community or involve the offender, also involve the victim or the survivor, in a way that it restores each person to a place where they were before. And it makes that offender, it puts them in a position where they can become productive and where they aren't engaging in those type of antisocial behaviors. So I think that's all part and parcel with restorative justice. And I think you would employ, that type of a strategy that involves the victim or the survivor, and it also involves the offender, so that in a collaboration we reach a point where the community is made whole again.
Right. I think to put a button on it, I think we all seem to agree with 90% of it. Bethany said, and Terry put it up there, we need to reimagine what it means to police in general. And I think that's kind of what we're all saying, but they don't need to be with his Tahitian fruit. That's like he gonna pull out an orange soda. Now he gonna pull out an orange soda. You know how we do.
Hey, we got a couple more. We got a couple more topics that we was looking at. So which one y'all want to go with next? Because we only got a couple more minutes. We got R. Kelly, and we got food stores in our community.
Okay, where we going? All right. So
we gotta go with R. Kelly, man.
We gotta go with R. Kelly.
No.
All right. So he was found guilty, and he was sent up. Justice served. Oh, I guess. Okay. Two questions. I think we all agree that if he he was found guilty, so he should go to jail. Are y'all still listening to him? I mean, are you done with him now, or what? What happens with that? Y'all still listen to him?
I wasn't never really a big R. Kelly fan. His most popular songs that they always had in rotation on the radio, I listened to them joints. But as far as me personally, I don't think I've ever purchased an R. Kelly product, whether it was from back in the day when it was cassette tapes, or when it went to CDs, or when it went to online digital versions. I've never purchased an R. Kelly product. Mm-hmm. But I think he did make some fire. He made some fire. I can't find some fire.
So okay, go ahead, Nike.
No, I don't purposely play his music, but sometimes I might have the radio on when I'm going to the store or something like that, and it come on, and I'm singing the joint. Then I'm like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, no, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Then I might turn, but that's like halfway through the song before I remember. You know what I mean? Because I'm not thinking about him as the person. I'm just jamming through the song. You feel me?
Right. Okay. All right. I guess that was an easy one. We're all on the same page with that. All right.
Yeah, but fuck that nigga for real. You know what I mean?
He's not gonna have an easy time.
You know what I mean? I don't really fuck with him like that. You know what I mean? Simple terms.
I mean, I like his music. I'm rarely a fan of a person. I'm as a music lover, I'm rarely a fan of a person. Now, there's some people like Stevie. I'm a Babyface fan. I'm a fan of the person. Rarely am I a fan of a person. Normally, it's the music that makes me appreciate the person and what they do.
I love me some Babyface.
Oh yeah, yo, man, I'm a Babyface fan. He's a bad dude, man. I'm a Babyface fan. I'm a Chris Brown fan. But again, it's as a result of the art. It's as a result of how they perform. How they express themselves artistically. and it gives me a different appreciation for him. So what happens with that with me, you know, if I like the song, I like the song. You know, I wouldn't stop listening to that person's music because of what they did personally. I never put that person on a pedestal. I don't expect anything from them anyway. You know, I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't expect anything
I would
from
never.
them.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I just would never buy. Like I would never spend money on his music or like Michael Jackson's either. Now you know I have before, but I wouldn't now. Yeah, I wouldn't purchase anything that they had put out. You know what I'm saying? Just because of what they did.
She's going a little further. She said he didn't do it by himself. People gave him access to some of those young ladies. It was a collaborative effort. I agree. She said they all need to be held responsible, accountable.
Well, yeah, but you know, you do have stories of him trolling like McDonald's,
schools and stuff. Yeah,
schools
true.
And that kind of shit. So
I mean, to her point though, those other ones were accessories to crimes. I mean, if what he did was commit a crime and they were involved, then you know they got off scot-free, but they probably cut deals in order to testify against them. Because it sounds like some of those people that involved with his entourage were some of the ones that testified against him. All right. Anybody else got anything to add to that before we move on?
Nah.
Nope. All right. So is this the last one, Nike?
Yeah, that's the last one.
What is it? Food stores in our community.
Food stores on that, right? Yeah.
All right, guy. What you got with that?
I think this one came about. We was talking and we got on the topic of down there in Chester, PA, where they finally got a supermarket. Like for years, for maybe decades, Chester didn't have a supermarket. Wow, and that's a whole city. You know what I mean? And and I think that happens a lot in our communities. I think a lot of times, you know, we don't have sufficient food stores in our communities. We don't have nutritious alternatives in our communities. You know. And I don't think that the government programs that are in place maybe to assist in some of the food insecurity problems that our communities face, I don't think they're sufficient. So that's my thinking on it. I just don't think that there's enough good food in our communities. I think we need more produce stores. We need more fish stores. We need more fresh fruit stores. You know, we need places where we can get good food from. Instead of everywhere you turn, it's a McDonald's or a Burger King or a KFC or it's a new Papa Nick's popping up or Papa John's or Little Caesars or the everybody's selling it to us, whatever it is, and it's not healthy.
I got two things to add to that.
Food deserts.
The one thing about McDonald's and all of these fast food places, the shame of it is that it's cheaper to eat at those places,
right? Exactly.
Than to go into a supermarket and buy fresh vegetables or fresh food. You know what I'm saying? And
full disclosure,
it kind of makes you think: is that on purpose? Like,
no. Let me say something. Full disclosure, though, I do work in a supermarket. You know, so let me just put that out there. But the reason I think what you just said is the answer. Supermarkets couldn't figure out a way to make it profitable to have that, because if you think about it, especially when you're talking about, it's easy to load up your shelf with cans because cans are a non-perishable item, so they can sit up there for years and you just hope somebody buy it. Whereas if you put up there fresh produce and it's not purchased within a couple days, you got to trash it. So you
still got to have it. So because you're a supermarket, you're not going to just had trashy produce because you think somebody not gonna buy it.
But as you just said, though, I mean, people are in businesses. Supermarkets exist to make business, to make money first.
I understand that, but you still have to put out a certain amount of quality product, whether whether you're trying to make a profit or not. You can't just feed people anything.
Well, that's as we see. Yes, they can, and that's why they did it in Chester. You can just feed. You could do as long as you're not breaking up. Absolutely. Now you can say, should you?
That's one of the worst things for our community that's going on right now.
I agree, but
because
again,
we're not getting the proper nutrition.
Agreed.
People getting sick.
But think about what you just said though. And let's take it a step further. McDonald's and those fast foods, you know why they work? Because it's fast food. You got the single mom or the mother and father birth, and it's cheap. So let me finish my point. So now you have the mother and father out working all day. They probably don't have enough time to go home and cook a full a 3-course, 4-course meal, healthy meal. So what do? They go get a burger because it has lettuce on it for the vegetables, it has bread, it has meat for protein, and it has cheese for milk. I mean, they cover that's the meal. That's the meal.
God damn. No.
I'm not saying it's right, no. But that's what happened.
And here's another thing. I'm gonna tell you something else. That the media and the people in charge of all this shit ain't telling everybody. There's a food shortage.
Oh yeah, it is that.
There's currently a food shortage.
There's a problem.
If you know,
there's a distribution shortage, not just food. There's a distribution shortage. Everything.
There's a food shortage. I'm not talking about distribution. I'm talking about food shortage. If you notice, everybody and their mama got a chicken sandwich. Even Taco Bell got a damn chicken sandwich, right? They got to keep up with this supply from all these fast food places. Everybody got a chicken sandwich. That's why you go out to buy some chicken. You get a pack of wings. It's almost like $5. And I'm like, damn, $5 for a pack of wings?
You've been complaining about the lack of chicken for like the last week, the last year.
Yeah, but I'm saying, because it's true. Beef the same way. It's a supermarket.
I hope you get the chicken.
Wait. Venus went to go shopping today, right?
Love chicken.
We love chicken, and you love Tahitian food.
I love chicken.
and some watermelon. Give it to me. Chicken and watermelon, collard greens, all that. Give it to me.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, even beef, they had a thing. You can only buy 2 packs of beef. Like when they start rationing, it's not on the news every day, and they not coming out and saying it. But go to your local supermarkets and check out the meat aisles.
Right. There has been. But you know, actually though, 2 things. They still haven't fully recuperated from the lack of employees during the COVID, because remember, all those people that worked at those factories stopped working and didn't go back, and so therefore, not only did they not have the workers available to them to work the factories, they stopped because remember, we were closed for 18 months about.
Right.
And so therefore they weren't raising the food that they should have had. That
Farms was raising it.
Man. Who?
Farms.
Nope, because the farmers didn't have the workers. Also, you have a bunch of ships that can't dock because you don't have dock workers to offload the ships.
Right. And it's even worse over in Africa, all these because they get a lot of their produce and stuff from here.
That's right.
So the supply line is kind of short, right? But you know what? They're not going to tell you that. That's why the prices of everything is going so high, because shit is running out, man. And what's going to happen when food run out? People gonna start going crazy again. You know what I mean?
No,
get your gun, man. Hey, ain't no food at my. Don't come to my house, and don't come to my house asking for no food.
We know where the food is,
then. But it ain't food.
And you got a gun.
You serving hot shit, but it ain't food.
You got food and we protect it. We got food and we protect it. I'm gonna be in North Carolina.
That's right.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yo,
yeah,
man.
but no, seriously though, man. You know,
it's an issue.
I want all my real brothers strap up. Seriously, do it legal too, so you don't get no trouble. But strap
I agree with
up.
that. I mean, I agree with that though. I believe that everybody should go.
Yo, man,
legally get a gun
on everything, man. I believe that wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying?
Legally. Because I ain't with breaking no laws. So you know what I would do. Let me find out that you have an illegal gun.
Yeah, don't
Stacey got a list of something somewhere, man. You write your shit down.
State's gonna make you flash your papers. Where your permit at?
Hey, look, I need to see documents. Hey, ask them a police officer.
But yeah,
All right,
no.
man.
But on the serious side, man,
Right.
we real brothers, man. We once we unify all over this planet, things gonna change because we'll have leverage. When we get that leverage, it's gonna take a while, but once we get that leverage, things gonna be different.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yo, did we hit everything, man?
I think we did.
We did.
And plus the
All
two
right, so
randoms too. Yeah, so you ran through everything.
Nice. The time
Good
flew,
job.
man. The time flew. And when you do have markets is subpar products. Okay, that's what Lynette said. Somebody else said obesity is huge in our community because people are not getting proper nutrition in their meals. I agree
And
with
that
that.
goes back to our healthcare.
I agree with that.
You know
Healthcare.
what I mean? Healthcare.
You mean
all this bad
supermarkets.
food we eating? No,
Supermarkets.
all this bad food that we're eating because bad food is cheaper than getting good food at the supermarket.
Right.
That's why we have so many health problems.
Oh, true.
And obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high
Take care of
cholesterol,
yourself,
all that
dude.
shit.
Yo,
Yeah.
you know what though? Let me say this, man. Take care of yourself. You know, visit your doctor. You know, I know we as men, man. You know, and I'm bad at it. I know. It's time for me to go to the doctors. I got an email from them the other day, but I gotta go, man, because you know we're at an age now, man, where we can't deny stuff. We can't ignore stuff. Let me put it that way. You know, we ignore stuff one day and it doesn't go away. You know, so we have to do better. You know, trying to take care of ourselves, man. You know, we have to, especially as men. All right, so we ready to round this thing down, man?
So yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, we have
my last
closing thoughts.
My last closing thoughts is going to be, I just want to wish Chaundra Jones's family, you know, my sincere condolences, and I hope they find the person that did it. You know, and I really, you know, she was a beautiful girl from everything I heard about her, and you know, if there's anything that we can do for the family, you know, just reach out to us, and we'll try to do what we can. To my man Craig, love you, brother. Love you, Craig. We go way back, and you're gonna be missed, brother.
Absolutely.
That's all I got right now. And strap up, real brothers.
Strap up.
U.S., Africa, Asia, everywhere, man. Unite. We gotta unite.
Gotta unite.
I think all I got. I just wanted to say, my heart goes out to the family of Chaundra Jones and her two beautiful babies, and you know, if there's anything that can be, you know, I can do to probably give any kind of support to that family, just shout us out here on Real Brothers Live. And I just wanted to say, you know, I hope that, you know, if you enjoyed the podcast and spread the word, let somebody else know, share with somebody else. And listen, thanks for having us. We appreciate you all.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. And you know what though, and I guess I know Terry and Guy give me heck about it, but we have to, you know, if you see something, say something. I mean, you know, I'm a firm believer that these things continue to happen because we allow them to happen in our community. We allow them. We, you know, they think that they can come in our community and just do anything, and no one's gonna say anything.
There's no consequences. That's the
there
thing.
Has
There's
to
no
be consequences. Okay. You know, so you know, we have to become a little bit more.
No, it's a fine line between, you know, retaliation and consequences.
Right.
But hey, it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying that part.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that nobody should kill nobody else.
It has consequences.
I'm living by the black code now. You know what I mean? I'm living by the black code.
Oh, these are my closing words, Nike, not yours. You already had your chance. You should have said that.
My bad.
All right. So yeah. So you know, being, you know what, I think, you know, I'm glad you chimed in though. I'll say it this way: be involved in your community. You know what's going on. Know what's going on. You know what? And to your point, Nike, if you know that something happened, at least do something. Don't let those things go unchecked. I think we can all agree with that. Right. Whether it's tell someone. How about that, y'all? Can I get with that?
I like
tell
that. That
someone.
sounds good. Tell somebody.
Okay.
Right.
Tell someone. Somebody. You know, y'all know who I'm gonna tell. Y'all know who they're gonna tell. But tell someone. we you know, like Terry said, there has to be consequences. You know, we have to get away from this, you know, closed mind, or I'm not gonna get involved. We have to get away with that. We have to get away from that. If you know something, say something to someone, and then someone else can make a decision on the way that situation needs to be dealt with. All right, but
once
again,
we build this Real Brothers community, things are going to get better. I promise.
Right. And someone said not all police are bad, just not all black people are bad. Not all police are bad.
You put that
just
up
like
there,
not all
Steve.
black. I know, yeah.
Act like he ain't typed that. I know you put that up there.
All right. So that's Princeton. Princeton, I agree with you 100%. All right, so thank y'all for tuning in.
Wait, who wrote that?
Princess Clark. Princess Clark.
All right.
Is that your family guy?
No.
Okay. And October is breast cancer
awareness month.
Breast
cancer awareness month.
So thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.
Our show is available anywhere you get your podcast, and also on RealBrosLive.com. RealBrosLive.com. Subscribe
on YouTube, please.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for watching. See you next week.